on Australia's business channel. This is Media Week.
Hello, welcome to the program. Ahead, the latest newspaper and magazine readership data. The big global ad agency merger between Omnicom and Publicis called off, and relaunching an iconic Aussie brand with a legend of Australian advertising. But first, to the budget. The funding cuts and the impact on production and media organisations and the ad market, the coverage of it and how it rated. Well, the ABC and SBS lose $43 million in funding over 4 years. The ABC's Australia Network contract has been cancelled, and Screen Australia losing $38 million over 4 years. For more details, our co-host James Manning, editor and publisher of Media Week, is here. James, thanks so much for this. Just looking at the cuts in the federal budget for media companies, just take us through the extent.
Yeah, look, ABC and SBS affected, probably not as badly as a lot of people thought. I mean, the government had, or the Prime Minister had made that comment, look, we won't be affecting the ABC's budget. I guess the biggest thing is the losing the contract for the Australia Network. Mark Scott's come out and said since, look, that will impact on the ABC itself, because some of the people, I think, were shared across both the ABC and Australia Network, so they've got to carefully work out how to sort of extricate those people and if they can sort of redeploy them elsewhere in the company. SBS, yeah, look, they came out and said, look, we understand the government's got to reposition the finances, trying to, tighten the belt, so we'll do our bit. Michael Bede said, look, from SBS, he was worried though it would have some impact on the content. The production sector's worried about the impact if the ABC in particular, their content is pulled back a little bit. There won't be as many sort of drama commissions. We haven't heard from the ABC if that's the case. I mean, it's a relatively small cut to start with, but there's I think Mark Scott's talked about 4-year implications there. You talked a little bit about the coverage. People enjoyed watching the budget on the delivery on Tuesday night. Sky News had very good figures. Paul Murray had one of his best ever audiences. He wasn't on air until 10 o'clock with his special, did very well. The ABC itself had, and Sky both did good figures for the budget speech. Joe Hockey at 7:30. The ABC did a budget special, as did Sky News at 8 p.m. Both got very good figures for both those shows.
Just in terms of the impact on the ad market, there's been a lot of talk about tough budget, hit confidence, and leading up, there had been reports that the ad market had turned bearish in the June half, but then we're already seeing some of these, protest ads with regards to the budget. So, I mean, overall, what's the net impact on the ad market? I
think the ad market's been bearish for some sectors already, Others are faring a little bit better, so I think it will continue to be patchy. Short term, I can't see this having a big impact. It's too early maybe to call what's going to happen long term, but I don't think there's any, worry. Some advertisers perhaps possibly holding on to money, waiting to see what happened in the budget. So if they think the government's doing a good job of actually trying to repair the economy, and there's an argument whether it needs repairing or not, but let's just go with their spin for the time being, they might think, OK, we'll start spending a little bit because they seem to have it perhaps under control.
All right. Well, let's just move on to the latest newspaper and magazine readership data from Emma out this week, showing growth in total audience. Digital content, a key driver of this. James, you've got the details there. Now, tracking the numbers gets a bit challenging, doesn't it? Because obviously now talking about total audience.
Yeah.
It's growing, though.
It is, yeah. Look, your total audiences are growing, and newspapers have been pushing that for quite a while now. You can still drill in and get the print figures, and the print figures are down, no doubting that, but their total audience, which is tablet, the web, mobile, they are growing, and they're growing quicker than the print fall off. And as we talk about all the time, the challenge for them though is to monetise that audience across, can advertisers buy all that audience as easily and get the same impact as they used to on print? Magazine publishers have now jumped on. For the first time we've seen total magazine audiences. So that's been the big change, if you like, in the latest release of figures.
Just on magazines still, before we get to the news websites, it was very interesting to see some of the different new moves. New Idea now has the biggest total audience.
Yeah, it was interesting because if you just look at the print only, Women's Weekly has a bigger audience issue by issue, but the way they've done the total audiences over a 4-week period, which is the way they do the Nielsen online ratings for websites. So they've done 4 issues of a magazine. Of course, Women's Weekly only has 1, so New Idea comes off well out of that. But New Idea's saying, look, it's really a good measure of the brand health. You know, they've always said, look, we've had a good product. We think it might be undersold a bit because our impact is a bit greater than just that weekly figure. And here, yeah, they're showing, you know, look, our touch points are very strong across the month.
And Vogue Australia talking about the number of Facebook likes hitting.
Yeah, it was the first time we've seen that. You know, it's an interesting metric to start measuring, I guess. Facebook likes, I guess it comes into play. If they've really, I think it was the figure is something like 70,000 to 1 million over, I think it was a 2-year period. So it's been a fantastic growth on Facebook. Will that be enough to make advertisers jump in? No, but it's part of the overall picture. It's part of their touch points with their audience.
Yeah. Well, let's just also turn now to the top news sites for April, ranked by unique audience. Source obviously Nielsen, and we can just see there that the top there, news.com.au, 3.67 million.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, look, that top 6 hasn't changed at all month on month. Nielsen release these figures every month. In fact, the top 10 hasn't changed either. The order has changed. I think the Herald Sun and the Age swapped their positions, but that's all. The top 10 is pretty static. News.com.au, they're up there at the top. Look, there's no paywall there. There's no metered usage, so they can get a lot of eyeballs, and it's maybe hard to see them perhaps getting knocked out of that top position, as you know the SMH, you know, there is a limit on how much you can get for free there, but I mean it hasn't held them back from coming, you know, they're not far behind.
Just as well, while we're talking about newspaper publishers, there were some more reports about continued cost cutting at Fairfax, and CEO Greg Hywood coming out this week and denying that the print editions of AFR Weekend and the Sun Herald are to close.
Yeah, I think he was probably talking short term. I mean, he's been quite open that long term, look, there's probably an end date for print, as Rupert Murdoch's talking about that too. No one knows when that is. Everybody thinks it's probably a little way off. Fairfax may be a little bit closer to that end date than perhaps News Corp are, but Greg Hywood said, look, there's definitely nothing planned in the immediate future for either of those two titles. You can be sure there'll be there's business models there though for if we didn't have any print, you know, if we changed it today, what would it look like? If we changed it next year, if we changed it in 5 years, but nothing now.
And just to rival News Corp releasing its third quarter revenue numbers late last week, revenue's still under pressure in Australia, but globally positive on the ad outlook.
Yeah, there was a little glimmer of there. They had in their notes accompanying the data that said, look, we're seeing some signs that maybe the global ad spend is increasing. We've seen that in the figures from Zenith Optomedia we've talked about in the past. Sadly, Australia doesn't have the same sort of a glow about them that some other markets do. But it's really all about News getting their digital right. And we had Elisa Bowen in last week from News, and you know she talked about their news websites, and I've looked at them a lot this week. And that news stuff she talked about, gee, they are a big improvement in what they've been doing. So I think if they keep going down that track, yeah, they're on the right way.
James, let's get some more on this, on the News Corp result. And joining us now is Evan Lucas from IG. Evan, just in terms of the News Corp earnings and also news too with regards to the plans for B-Sky B and mergers for the European pay TV assets.
Yeah, James is right there with regards to what we saw out of the News Corp numbers last week. They were interesting in the fact that there is a very interesting situation that's not just going on in News Corp, but across the whole media landscape, and that is the difference between new media and old media. Now, their new media, their digital subscription, their digital real estate did incredibly well, up 18.7%, so just on 19, whereas their information and news services actually contracted around about 9, and that's all those newspapers that James is referring to. So that was a little disappointing, but there were surprises in it. Their book subscriptions were also better than expected. And as you alluded to, globally, it's doing very, very well, particularly in the US. They saw a record eyes on screens for the Super Bowl, which really jumped up that quarterly number. The other part of it is what's going on between B-Sky B and Fox, and then the Deutschland and also the Italia Sky business as well. So they currently own 39% of B-Sky B. They can't get any more of it, considering that scandal that happened in 2011 with regards to the full takeover and the issues that are going on with their newspaper. So that was rejected, but it does make strategic sense that Fox becomes basically a content provider, and that the other side of it, B-Sky B and their News Corp, means there's sort of an outlook, and it does look like they'll still have hold of it. So they own 55% of Deutschland Sky. They own 100% of Sky Italia, and it would mean that they still have exposure to it, but without having to controlling from it. It's a strategically good deal, and I think this will go through because it does make sense that Fox is a US-based, US corporate with US content, with controlling stakes that they are not as big in Europe and Australia anymore.
Evan, we've heard news this week from a prominent Sydney media analyst that there's been a significant downgrade for Southern Cross Austereo. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Austereo, James, has been a very interesting story, not just for what you're currently seeing out of the city analyst from Justin Digmans. He's been a major supporter. He's downgraded it to basically a sell, and he was a major supporter. But if you look at what's gone at Southern Cross since we saw the reach rule and the talk about it being put in there, where it jumped up almost 90%, it is now given back all of that and some more. So from when it went up to $1.90, it's now just below $1.10, and that's when this all kicked off. So it's given it all back. He doesn't believe that there will be a real big return, and they are now slipping to third on the ratings as well, behind APN and obviously Oz Radio's current programs like Mix, and then it's well and truly behind some of the other parts as well with regards to seeing out of their major competitors. So that's an issue. Triple M and Fox and whatever else they are part of, so, you know, Today FM, etc., are really struggling. And for that reason, he believes revenue streams and therefore the marketing advertising dollars will not return to Austereo anytime soon, and that's why they're in trouble. And the reach rule is still bumbling around. So all of that is why he's downgraded to a sell and why you've seen it lose 100% in the last 52 weeks.
Evan, as always, thanks for that.
Thanks, guys.
Evan Lucas there from IG. Coming up on Media Week, one of the ad legends behind campaigns like Come On Aussie Come On turns his talents to relaunching an iconic Aussie brand.